and astonished. The problem is I got a lot of brains but no polish. I gotta holler just to be heard. With every word I drop knowledge. I'm a diamond in the rough, a shining piece of coal, trying to reach my goal. My power of speech unimpeachable. Only 19 but my mind is older. These New York City streets get colder. I shoulder every burden, every disadvantage I've learned to manage. I don't have a gun to brandish. I walk these streets famished. The plan is to fan this spark into a flame, but damn, it's getting dark, so let me spell out the name. I am the A-L-E-X-A-N-D-E-R. We are meant to be a colony that runs independently. Meanwhile, Britain keeps shitting on us endlessly. Essentially, they tax us relentlessly. Then King George turns around, runs a spending spree. He ain't never gonna set his descendants free. So there will be a revolution in this century. Enter me,
he says in parentheses.
Don't be shocked when your history book mentions me. I will lay down my life if it sets us free. Eventually, you'll see my ascendancy. And I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey, yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey, yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. It's time to take a shot.
I dream of life without a monarchy. The unrest in France will lead to anarchy. Anarchy, how you say? Or anarchy. When I fight, I make the other side panicky with my shot.
Yo, I'm a tailor's apprentice, and I got y'all knuckleheads and local parentis. I'm joining a rebellion, cause I know it's my chance to socially advance. Instead of sewing some pants, I'm gon' take a shot.
And but we'll never be truly free until those in bondage have the same rights as you and me. You and I do or die. Wait till I sally in on a stallion with the first black battalion. Have another shot. Geniuses, lower your voices. You keep out of trouble and you double your choices. I'm with you, but the situation is fraught. You've got to be carefully taught. If you talk, you're gonna get shot.
Bird, check what we got. Mr. Lafayette, hard rock like Lancelot. I think your pants look hot. Lawrence, I like you a lot. Let's hatch a plot blacker than the kettle calling the pot. What are the odds of God who put us all in one spot? Pop in a squad and conventional wisdom like it or not. A bunch of revolutionary manumission abolitionists. Give me a position, show me where the ammunition is. Oh, am I talking too loud? Sometimes I get overexcited, shoot off at the mouth. I never had a group of friends before. I promise that I'll make y'all proud.
Let's get this guy in front of a crowd.
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey, yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot.
There's nothing rich folks love more than going downtown and slumming it with the poor. They pull up in their carriages and gawk at the students in the common just to watch them talk. Take Philip Schuyler, the man is loaded. Uh-oh, but little does he know that his daughters, Peggy, Angelica, Eliza, sneak into the city just to watch all the guys at
work. Angelica, work. Eliza, and Peggy, the Schuyler sisters. Angelica, Peggy, Eliza, work. Daddy said to be home by sundown. Daddy doesn't need to know. Daddy said not to go downtown. Like I said, you're free to go. But look around, the revolution's happening in New York. Angelica, work. It's bad enough Daddy wants to go to war. People shouting in the square. It's bad enough there'll be violence on our shore. New ideas in the air. Look around, Angelica, remind me what we're looking for.
She's looking for me.
Eliza, I'm looking for a mind at work. I'm looking for a mind at work. I'm looking for a mind at work. Whoa, 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 work.
Ooh, there's nothing like summer in the city. Someone in a rush next to someone looking pretty. Excuse me, miss, I know it's not funny, but your perfume smells like your daddy's got money. While you slumming in the city in your fancy heels, you searching for an urchin who can give you ideals.
Sir, you disgust me.
Ah, so you disgust me. I'm a trust fund, baby, you can trust me.
I've been reading Common Sense by Thomas Paine. So men say that I'm intense or I'm insane. You want a revolution, I want a revelation. So listen to my declaration. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. And when I meet Thomas Jefferson, I'ma compel him to include women in the sequel. Work! Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. Look around at how lucky we are to be alive right now. History is happening in Manhattan, and we just happen to be
birthplace of radio's greatest era. Live from New York, it's Radio Night Live with Kevin McCullough. Wait, who?
Kevin McCullough, let me start with you.
Huh?
The big dog, Kevin McCullough.
And Kevin McCullough.
No, who?
Nationally syndicated radio host and author of No He Can't.
Who? Kevin McCullough?
Kevin McCullough is a nationally syndicated radio host and author of No He Can't.
What?
Barack Obama's Dismantling Hope and Change and CEO of Extreme Media.
All right, it's Saturday night. Welcome to hour number 2. Kevin McCullough, glad you're with us. It is time for the Ladies Lounge. And do not forget, friend, as I've been talking to you for the last number of weeks, we at Radio Night Live, and really anything connected with Kevin McCullough, we are, for this last quarter of the year, we are trying to give a Christmas present that beats every Christmas present that's ever been given by trying to liberate 48 human-trafficked slaves in Sudan from their Islamist captors. We have the ability to do that. Christian Solidarity International is the group we're working with, and as I was just talking about last hour, I want to make sure you know that you can make this difference. So as you hear us give the phone number, as you hear us continually reminding you, there's a reason for that. We want to make sure that all 48 of them have been liberated, and thanks to the generosity of many so far, we are down to, I believe it is 37 people to go. So if you are, wanting to do something special, extra meaningful for your family this Christmas season, consider liberating a slave through Christian Solidarity International. The way it works is real simple. If you're just joining us, it's an Ovidium shot for the cattle of the Islamist slave owner. That's delivered through kind of an underground railroad that they have. There is no cash that changes hands. It is strictly a shot for their cattle. But in exchange for every shot that they receive, they release one human-trafficked individual, and it's a wonderful, wonderful program. And so thank you to those of you that have already helped us free 11 people so far. Their lives will be forever changed because of your generosity. And if you want to call tonight, again, that phone number is 888-342-1010, 888-342-1010, 888-342-1010. You can also look us up on CrowdRise and give a donation there. But $250 sets one slave free this Christmas season. Please consider doing that. All right. Usually in hour number 2, we are thrilled to open up what's called the Ladies Lounge. It's where we feature the brilliant women in media and the voices that I am of the opinion need to be amplified a little bit more. So I basically turn over a portion of my platform here every Saturday night, and we have great conversations, and we get to meet really interesting people, and it's been a fun time doing this, and it's one of our listeners' favorite portions of the show, and I'm honored to bring a new voice to the lounge tonight. Her name is Kelsey Harkness, and she is one of those internet journalist people. She does a lot of work for multiple websites. The Daily Signal and the Federalist are both where you primarily see her, but she also does some video investigative type stuff, and she hosts a podcast called Problematic Women, and it's with great joy we welcome her to the Kevin McCullough microphone. Kelsey, welcome to the weekend.
Thank you so much for having me, Kevin, and thank you so much for all the work you're doing to free those girls in Sudan. That's incredible. We
this year we always do something kind of fun in fourth quarter, but this year the more I learned about human trafficking over the last couple of years, the more I just felt compelled to do that, and it's just something that's from our heart. And if we can get all 48, I'm going to be a happy camper. So spread the word and help us get the message out there. But thanks for your encouragement, Kelsey. You live and reside, I'm assuming, in the Washington D.C. metro, and it is a place where young professional women are reporting on things and working for think tanks and working very hard, I think, on the conservative side of issues, at least, to bring about some principled change in our life. But that's my assumption. Why do you do what you do?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that question right after your opening segment on these girls who are trapped as sex slaves in Sudan, because some people might be surprised to hear this if they're familiar with the New York Times journalist Nicholas Kristof. But it was during high school and college that I became familiar with Nicholas Kristof's work at the New York Times. He's an opinion writer, a very liberal opinion writer, but he really does some incredible work telling the stories of girls like the ones you just mentioned who get trapped in these really terrible humanitarian crises. And when I heard about a lot of these stories, I grew up in Connecticut in my own little bubble. I went to a liberal arts college in Pennsylvania, also in a little bubble. And when I really started to learn about these issues, it made me want to get involved. It made me want to get involved in the storytelling world and to figure out a way to better communicate what is going on in this country and beyond and how you can help. And, you know, I'm very happy that I'm doing that right now. I hope to do even more in the international front later on in my career, but that's actually how I ended up in Washington, D.C.
Well, and so what took you there? Why Washington, D.C. if you were concerned about trafficking?
So I wanted to get into news media. So my first job was in New York City at Fox News. I was a production assistant, and it was great exposure to, one of the leaders in this industry. But I decided to really make a difference in this world and to climb my way up in this field because it is a tough field get into. I needed to come to Washington, D.C. and learn a lot of these issues firsthand, learn what's going on inside the Capitol firsthand, inside the administration. And I wound up really in the perfect job for me, which is the Daily Signal at the Heritage Foundation. So the Daily Signal is an online multimedia news organization at the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank. So I'm in the position where every day I get to walk down the halls in my office, talk to some of the leading experts on all different types of policy issues, really come to understand them, and then figure out a creative way to communicate those issues to the American public. So I'd say I'm pretty lucky to have my job.
Well, they say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I will say, as someone that has pursued that since I was about 13, I got my first gig in media when I was 14. I was actually on air on the weekends in the Dallas market when I was 14. My voice changed, so people thought I was 40. So it worked out pretty nicely for me. But that is really inspiring, Kelsey, that you had a vision and you understood and you like took a stab at it and you began to kind of navigate and understand what you need to do. And when it comes to Heritage, who I've worked with for 30 years that I've been doing this, there isn't a better organization, I think, in the Beltway fighting the good fight for principled, common sense, freedom-oriented issues. There's been a lot of groups that have come and gone since then, but most of them still aren't around. Heritage has been there fighting the fight the whole time, and it's just a great organization. Let's talk a little bit about you as a person. You were how old when you discovered the issue of trafficking, and what it was that bothered you about it?
I remember the first time I really learned about it, I was probably a junior or senior in high school because I remember applying to Nicholas Kristof's Win a Trip, where he takes a young aspiring journalist with him on one of those trips to report on the issues with him. And so that's when I really dove into it. And then it was college when I really started looking into some of the policies behind policies in international landscapes that are enabling these situations to keep happening again and again. And I will say this is also what led me to really find myself in this brand of feminism that I believe in, that I don't even know if you can call it feminism, but I realize there are so many women and girls internationally that need a voice and that are lacking basic human rights. And so I think that's why I struggle so deeply to connect with this American brand of new wave feminism, which just seems so selfish and only focused on themselves and hardly ever speaking out for girls like the ones you mentioned in Sudan, who really do lack basic human rights.
Well, and I think that's a pretty astute observation on your part, and you came to it all on your own, which is kind of cool as well, because the college university environment does not encourage such free thinking amongst women right now, and in fact, it's a pretty hostile place for people that hold the kind of views that you do. So you're to be congratulated for that. I wrote a book about manhood in 2008, and the first 4 chapters were allocated to defining what's gone wrong with men. And what had happened with men basically was the advent of this new wave feminism that you're talking about in the 1960s. And it was very different than classic feminism, which erupted in the 1920s. In the 1920s, everything was about equality and equal access. In the 1960s, it all became about how women are supposed to replace men. And I believe in a God, I believe in a creator, I believe in a universe where the natural order of things is actually quite important. And I think that children need mothers and fathers to fully develop to their best potential. And so when the new wave of feminism that kind of kicked in the 60s, but is still the predominant viewpoint now in academia, in media, in entertainment, and even in the halls of elective office, depending on the administration that's in power, it suddenly hit me. Well, men are being let off the hook because the women of the new movement are telling them they're unnecessary. So it's interesting to connect, and you and I haven't had this conversation. We've only covered some of the news stories you've talked about thus far, but it's fun to have it because there are more and more women like you that I believe exist that actually think that actual justice for women is something that's still important and should be advocated for, as opposed to the Ashley Judd version, which stood up and said nasty women are where it's at, or whatever.
MyPillow is the world's most comfortable pillow because their patented interlocking fill conforms to my unique shape, resulting in the most restful sleep I've ever had in my life. And MyPillow stays cool throughout the night. They guarantee it for 10 full years not to go flat. In addition, you can just throw it in the washer dryer and keep it nice and fresh for years to come. And now a better reason for you to try MyPillow: 50% off of all products at MyPillow.com. That includes all sizes of pillows, the fabulous bed topper that revolutionized my lovely bride's sleep, and everything else 50% off. And if you can't check them out online, then give them a call. The number is 800-506-2641. That's 800-506-2641, 1-800-506-2641. And most important of all, use the promo code KMC. Promo code KMC when you call.
I had another dream last night about a poor wise man who changes the city.
When you feel alone.
We don't share the same life. We don't share anything.
You can leave. You choose.
And discover a life-changing friendship.
We have to talk to him. That's a man from my dream.
On October 20th, a simple act of kindness can change everything.
Amazing how far a little tender love and care can go.
Find love.
Our lives together will never be this beautiful.
Find hope.
I worried I was so different from other people, but what I found out was everybody's different, same kind of different as me.
Based on the incredible true story and best-selling book, Same Kind of Different as Me, starring Academy Award nominee Greg Kinnear and Academy Award winner Renee Zellweger. In theaters October 20th. Rated PG-13. May be inappropriate for children under 13. For tickets and showtimes, go to samekindofdifferentasmemovie.com.
Hi, Kevin McCullough. Every Christmas, I look to try to do something that will change the world and get my listeners to help me with the process. I'm hoping you'll join us this year. We are seeking to liberate 48 human-trafficked slaves in the region of northern Sudan. Christian Solidarity International